There is a rock out there with no name, no light of its own, and no interest in whether or not we are ready for it. It has been traveling through space for millions of years, long before our cities, long before our species, long before anything on this planet could look up and wonder what else was out there. It moves in silence. It follows a path shaped by nothing more than gravity and time. And one day, maybe not in our lifetime, maybe not for thousands of years, that path might bring it here. This is not science fiction. This is the oldest threat our planet has ever faced. And tonight, we are going to talk about asteroids. What they are, what they have already done to Earth, and what we are doing about the ones that could be heading our way. If this is the kind of story that makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up, Beyond the Cosmos is your channel. Subscribe right now and turn on your notifications. Every week we look at the universe honestly, including the parts that are a little uncomfortable. Now let us get into it. Most of the time, when people hear the word asteroid, they picture something small, a rock tumbling through space. Interesting to scientists, harmless to everyone else. The reality is different. Our solar system is full of these objects. There are millions of them. Some are small, the size of a car or a house. Others are the size of a mountain. A few are large enough that if they sat on the surface of Earth, they would be visible features on the landscape from orbit. Most of them orbit the Sun in a wide band between the inner and outer planets, circling quietly and doing nothing. But not all of them stay there. Some get nudged by the gravity of nearby planets, by collisions with other rocks, by the slow, gentle pressure of sunlight over millions of years, and they drift. They shift. Their orbits change, and some of them end up on paths that cross the orbit of Earth. We call those the ones worth watching, and there are more of them than most people realize. The first thing to understand about an asteroid impact is the speed. These objects do not gently drift into our atmosphere. They arrive at speeds of tens of thousands of kilometers per hour. At those speeds, even a relatively small rock carries an enormous amount of energy. Speed matters far more than size when it comes to the damage an impact can do. We know this because it has happened before, many times. About 66 million years ago, an object large enough to darken the sky for years struck our planet. The immediate explosion was devastating, but what came after was worse. Dust and debris blocked sunlight across the entire globe. Temperatures dropped, plants died, and the food chain collapsed from the bottom up. Around 3/4 of all species on Earth were gone within a relatively short window of geological time. The world that existed before that impact never came back. The world that exists now, the one that produced mammals and eventually us, only exists because of the empty space that catastrophe left behind. That is what a large impact does. It does not just leave a crater. It rewrites the planet. But you do not need something that large to cause serious damage. A little over a century ago, something entered the atmosphere over a remote part of the world and exploded in the air before it ever reached the ground. There was no crater. There was no surviving fragment large enough to hold in your hand. But the force of that explosion flattened trees across an enormous area of forest. Estimates put the affected region at roughly 2,000 square kilometers. If that same event had happened over a major city, we would still be talking about it as one of the worst disasters in human history. Instead, it happened over empty land, and the world mostly forgot about it within a generation. That is the uncomfortable part. Not every threat announces itself with a crater. Some of them arrive without warning and leave without a trace, except for the damage they cause on the way through. So what are we actually doing about this? More than most people know. Scientists around the world track thousands of near-Earth objects. Telescopes scan the sky every night, cataloging rocks, measuring their size, calculating their orbits, and running projections to see whether any of them come close enough to matter. When a newly discovered object shows any possibility of approaching Earth within a dangerous range, it gets flagged, watched, and tracked more closely until the data either rules out a threat or confirms one. So far, no known asteroid of dangerous size is on a confirmed collision course with Earth. That is genuinely good news. But the key word is known. The sky is large. Our coverage is not perfect. And smaller objects, large enough to devastate a city or a region, are harder to spot because they are simply too small to reflect much light. That is the gap that keeps astronomers up at night. Not the planet killers, most of which we have already found and tracked. The medium-sized ones. The ones that could arrive with very little warning and cause damage on a scale that no modern city has ever experienced. But here is where the story shifts from frightening to something more interesting. For the first time in the history of life on this planet, something living on it has the ability to actually do something about this threat. A few years ago, a spacecraft was deliberately crashed into an asteroid. Not to destroy it, not to blow it apart, but simply to see whether the impact changed its orbit. And it did. The path of that rock through space was altered by something we built and launched from Earth. Think about what that means. Every other mass extinction, every other major impact in the history of this planet happened because nothing here had the tools or the knowledge to prevent it. The animals that died 66 million years ago had no warning. They had no plan. They had no option but to be where they were when the sky changed. We are the first species in the history of Earth that does not have to accept that. We can see these things coming. We can track them. We can calculate their paths years or decades in advance. And we now have at least the beginning of a method to change those paths before they reach us. That is not a small thing. That is one of the most significant moments in the history of life on this planet. And it passed by without the recognition it deserved. The work is not finished. Tracking needs to improve. The techniques for deflecting larger objects need more development and more testing. International coordination needs to be stronger, because an asteroid does not care about borders. If one is coming, the entire planet is involved in the answer. But the direction is right. The tools exist. The people working on this problem are serious, and they are making real progress. The universe does not send warnings. It does not slow down. It does not make exceptions for how much you have built or how long you have been here. But right now, at this moment in history, something on this planet is paying attention. Something is watching the sky, building the tools, running the numbers. Something is refusing to be caught off guard the way everything before us was. That something is us. And that might be the most quietly remarkable thing about being alive right now. At this exact point in history, when the tools to act finally exist. If tonight gave you something to think about, please hit the like button. It helps this channel reach more people who want to understand the universe they are living in. Subscribe to Beyond the Cosmos. We do this every week. The stories, the science, the questions worth asking. Turn on your notifications so you never miss one. And drop a comment below. Does the idea of asteroid tracking make you feel safer? Or does the fact that we need to do it at all make you uneasy? I want to know what you think. The cosmos is beyond us. Until it is not. See you out there.